The dream is real. Ladies and gentlemen, it is your lifestyle specialist, Kenneth Burns, reporting live from the safest place on earth. I call it Love Land. And then I also have some of my favorite human beings on earth right here with me on the TKBS podcast. Kenneth Burns Show is live in full effect. Ladies and gentlemen, start putting your hands together for the beautiful Latia Ashley Burns. Latia, how you doing? You're looking good.
I'm doing amazing.
You look like you got some of that this weekend. Ladies and gentlemen, keep
vitamin D.
Vitamin. Ladies and gentlemen, keep those round of applause going for my brother from another mother. He goes by Natural Bars. We call him Hassa Diddy. What's happening, champion?
What's going on, bro? Chilling.
I can't call it. I might sport. I was outside this weekend, Haas. You know what I'm saying? I was doing my 1-2 step, and I had on silk. In heels.
Turned up.
Yeah, silk and heels. Okay. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, keep those round of applause going for my boo. This is my hometown hero, Shelly B's on the motherfucking, you know what I'm saying? What's happening, Shelly?
You know what I'm saying? Just like your heel, the good Saint Laurent.
Yeah, that heel had me in the bed, trying not to move the next day, but it was Mother's Day. And happy belated Mother's Day to all the beautiful mothers out there in the world today. We love you. We appreciate you. You deserve it all. You deserve it all. You truly do. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to start this episode off by shouting out the Ayers Agency and Live Nation Urban. We had a time this weekend, child. One time, yeah, let me get the air horns for all of the guests. I just wanted to run it back a little bit for y'all because I had an amazing time. Y'all, I'm going to start off on Friday. One time for DeAndre Tristan, all right? He found this Gucci outfit that I needed, okay? Because it matched my guy's favorite DJ, Clark Kent, his Air Force Ones. It matched my Air Force Ones, and I was very excited. I was very happy about the contribution, the way I looked. I did that. My wife had on denim. We didn't plan it. The older you get in a relationship, the more you start becoming each other. You start dressing alike on accident. You know what I'm talking about? You know, you start saying that, finishing each other's sentences. You start saying the same. You find yourself like, who am I? Okay, well, that was me Friday night. Me and my wife was matching. We was outside. I want to shout out all the artists. All the artists, you did a phenomenal job. Big shout out to DJ E-Class. He held me down. Very proud of you, brother. You did a great job. Saturday night, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, my goodness. You know, people be talking about they put that shit on. Okay, I had on pajamas, nigga. All y'all out there, huh? They're talking about y'all coming outside. Y'all want to see something. You want to see me in fashion? Oh, no. Oh, no, you would not dare think of wearing pajamas and the heel on stage like my father. You thought you could when you couldn't? Huh? I did, though. I did that.
Here we go.
Sorry, I just had to.
Not pajamas, bro.
No, I had pajamas on, bro. Silk pajamas.
Pajamas is crazy.
But anyway, that's my little recap. I had an amazing time. One of the most pleasant surprises of the weekend were the Amours. Ladies and gentlemen, look out for the Amours. Google them. They're from Washington, D.C. I'm talking about voices. Ooh, we need that, y'all. So big shout out to the Amours and all the artists. I mean, amazing performances. But they stood out to me. Big shout out to Da Vinci and Asiana. June 10th, Real Love airs on Lifetime, and then June 17th, part 2 called Strength of a Woman airs June 17th. That's on Lifetime. Big shout out to Shauna Ayers and Mary J. Blige. They're executive producing that. But yeah, those were some of the highlights for me this weekend. You know, rocking with DJ Mars, one time for DJ Mars. He killed that on Saturday too. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we are brought here today to get through this thing called propaganda. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to give you a little definition of propaganda, and I'm sure my illustrious panel of superheroes will have perspective on this, but I want to give you some insight so you can set the table for yourself. Propaganda, also known as a noun, and in my opinion, you can use it as a verb. Information, especially of a biased or misleading nature, used to promote or publicize a particular political cause or point of view. Yeah, the dissemination of propaganda. We saw that in Donald Trump's campaign. We saw that in most campaigns, honestly. But I want to throw another wrinkle into the algorithm. I think propaganda's in music. I feel like right now, today, we just witnessed this weekend, Ja Morant, a young man who just got a $200+ million contract, probably got another 100 from Nike in endorsements. Ladies and gentlemen, this idiot, I'm sorry, there's no more protection. The gloves are off, the mask is off. This idiot was in the car with the gun. Now let's just talk about being in the car with the gun. Very, very stupid, okay? But you're listening to NBA YoungBoy.
Tell them check me out now. No, I got that shit in me. No, I got my Glock out. Say that they don't get at me. Better know that they be mine.
Okay? Let's just put it all the way out there. You're listening to NBA YoungBoy, and you are so inspired by this dumbass fucking music you listening to that you gotta go to your side and pull up a gun for less than 15 seconds. And in those 15 seconds, your life is now going to be changed forever. Let me tell you why your life is going to be changed forever. Because you are not trustworthy. The NBA had you with an ass in your face and a gun in your right hand and only gave you an 8-game suspension. They only gave you an 8-game suspension. You were scot-free. All you had to do was keep your motherfucking nose clean. But no. As soon as the season was over, you bring your ass to Atlanta and host parties. Like you cannot afford a party at your house with non-disclosures, with phones being taken. All the things you want to do, young blood. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you wonder why I am associating this with propaganda. Because people, the people, capital THEY, they perpetuate the bullshit over and 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 over again. So much so that you are trapped mentally into Ja Morant. You are trapped mentally into this bullshit music you consume every single day. Which, by the way, is of a lifestyle you do not lead. I can even have more respect for people who are in the street, that are living that life, that go through the trials and tribulations of their choices, than you, sir, who have all this money and access and a good family. You got people that love you, people that were there for you your entire life, but you choose to let this world that you think you want to be involved in, that you think you need respect from, that you think is going to ride with you when you are broke. Oh no, you're going to be another nigga in the car listening to NBA YoungBoy. Okay? You're not going to be the MVP. You're not going to be the multi-millionaire. How about let's put that multi in perspective. You're not going to be the multi-millionaire anymore, because guess what's coming next? Nike. They can't. They can't. If Kyrie Irving, a champion, a fucking one of the best point guards in the world ever, can be let go by Nike, you can too. Because the one thing these powers that be, the capital THEY, the one thing they ain't gonna do, they ain't gonna let you affect their kids. Oh, no. They could talk about guns. They could have Christmas cards with guns in front of trees, but you can't do that. Oh, no, you cannot. Oh, no. So listen, ladies and gentlemen, and I honestly think, and I want to bring you in, guys, because I want to know your perspective on this, and then we're going to get into propaganda and how it's affecting other genres, specifically going straight to music from this. But I want to know how you feel, because I don't think he's going to be okay after this. Now, you might play basketball, and I hope you do. Everybody's worth redemption. Everybody should be given grace, but you, my friend, are stupid. What do y'all think?
Propaganda and Ja Morant. I feel like Ja Morant is a different issue, but I want to start with propaganda. And just to make it simple, I wanted to call propaganda circulated messaging to sway the opinions of people.
Rap music.
And all forms of media, right? Because I want to go all the way back, right? Like, look at, you had the Greeks. but they didn't have media like we have media now, right? You had the games, you had theater, you had, the assemblies, law courts, religious festivals, philosophy, Coliseum, and even printed text that was circulated. Like, this person wrote this paper and this thought got passed around. However, the actual term propaganda didn't exist until about 1588, or exactly 1622. 1588, they began actually propagating with a mission. 1622, the terminology Pope Gregory the 14th created in Rome the Congregation for the Propagation of Faith. So let's just begin with that.
So we're gonna talk about religion a little bit today too. The propaganda of religion. Hold on. I love to have a resident history major. Continue, please.
And it's necessary because when you look at the establishment of government and governing bodies and or the control of people, that was how the oligarch and or royalty claimed their power through where your passions lie. And they're definitely going to lie with the divine and, your religion or spiritual practice.
And that's how they control you.
Right.
And that's how they move you.
Relegar. Back to episode 8. TKBS Nation Conversations. Y'all need to download.
You heard.
So yeah, that gets into that. However, let's just list over history a few major events that propaganda has been necessary for, aside from feminism.
Well, let's go over those steps after we get out of the Ja Morant thing.
To jump to the Ja Morant thing, Ja Morant is more, for me, I've seen it and I see it. Like, we laugh at kids like that. Like, being a kid from the hood that like has achieved, and you seek success, you seek the peace. You don't want the violence and this that you didn't ask for, but you inherited. And so when we see kids like that, we call it identity crisis. Like, you're a good kid.
No question.
You want to be down, Like, I feel like that goes into like psychology and a lot of other stuff. But ultimately, the key is that propaganda is what creates the traumatic experience for a Ja Morant to exist. If he didn't have the music or the inclusivity of his people and the way we fanfare, the violence and the glorification without communicating the troubles, the woes, and the pain and infliction that it causes, we're not doing the proper messaging to our counterparts, at which point he's like, oh, I want to be down because that's what my people are doing, or the majority therein, and I want to be accepted by them, or I want to be acceptable to them. And I think that approval is a drug, and it's one that social media has inflated, right? Has made almost pandemic.
Right.
And it's a problem that we need to fix. I want to pass it off to Shelly.
Ja Morant, NBA dumb boy.
Come on, hold on. You need an air horn for that. NDA. Goofy. I'm sorry.
First of all, how many NDAs has he had to sign? And he has violated every single one of them.
Unbelievable.
Every single one. Read the fine print, sir. Your lawyers should have advised you. The wave of the future. Be the first on your block. Act now. Propaganda is not new.
Right.
It's always going to be enthrottled in whatever into the culture of anything that we touch. The Army was World War II, whatever. All of that coming. Yeah, all of it. Come to sign up. And with him, it's just, I want to know who is the person that is bullying you? Who is the person that is in your ear right now? Because there's no way that he grew up the way that he did and is acting as such. Something else is influencing him. What is the bandwagon?
It's the music. What else could it possibly be?
But is it solely the music?
It has to be. Solely? Let me. No, okay, let's say music and what music spawns. When you look at life right now, right? You are watching Power, BMF. I mean, everything is glorification of my era of drug dealing. That's why I always show up to the party first apologizing to these youngins. We started it, absolutely. But now, unlike then, you don't have options. Now, unlike then, you don't have anyone to pull you aside, literally, or any guardrails to hold you responsible. So when you look at it, the music has influenced us for generations. But we had options in music. They don't have any options. You got to be a whore, man and woman, to exist in fucking music. You have to be a whore. You have to be... Me seeing Janelle Monáe, listen to me, y'all. Beautiful. Body out of this world. Love it. Round of applause for everything she was born with. God is real. Okay? But at the same time, that's not who you sold us on. That's not who we have been championing and want to continue to lift you up to be this. You know what I mean? It's not. Do you feel that music is making her? Now mind you, her preference, her sexuality, whoever she wants to be, totally fine. No problem with it. You wanting to show your titties while kissing a girl on the neck. Totally your thing, cool, not mad. Same time, we ain't seen that in 4 or 5 albums or in 10 years we done known you as an artist. Not that you can't grow, not that you can't change, but what is making you all of a sudden now come out and want to be this visually aggressive? No problem with it, but at the same time, it's in line with all the bullshit that is making these young women feel like they have to be over-sexualized to be seen. Latia, how do you feel about that?
So I think that it's a double-edged sword on both ends. It's unfortunate that you have a group of creative people, whether it's in any form of the arts, film. We've seen it with movies too, actors. The more you take off, you get the Oscar. It's unfortunate that sexuality is starting to overshadow the talent. We're discussing more about what these creatives are wearing more than we're creating their art. We fell in love with them for their art. Now, granted, anything else is just a bonus, their beauty, their fashion, their, whatever they have to contribute on top of what they're actually paid to do.
Right.
So I think it's unfortunate that's what's being pushed, but I think there's a deeper issue that's at hand as well. What's the underlying agenda, quote unquote, that's being pushed?
Right.
Propaganda is enforcing whatever your idea or whatever information that you want to perpetuate, finding a way to push that out in order to gain the masses, convert them over to you the way that you believe. Yes. And then you create a community that way. I think the message of what they're propagating, if that's a word, I think it's unfortunate that it's more of a hindrance to our growth. And I don't even want to say the culture, because this isn't a black thing or a white thing. It's a human thing. You know what I'm saying? Because we got white kids dying from fentanyl. We got black kids dying from this. We got, you know what I'm saying? Yep. So it's a whole full circle thing that I'm just seeing in society and in the media. And we have people like the basketball player who has worked hard to get to where he is, because that's not an easy accomplishment. It's so many people and kids that get there. But then they do, they make mistakes along the way for whatever reason that's there. And really it's self-sabotaging behavior that's ruining them from the inside out. But 10, 15 years later, they won't see it. And then you get older and it's, dang, I wish I would have, made different decisions. But you have the ability and people to speak into you now, but they turn a deaf ear. They don't want to listen. Yeah. The propaganda or what's being perpetuated is speaking louder than the voices like KB and other people that's been there and done that. Right. So I think we got to figure out, clean out whatever propaganda earwax is inside these young people's ear so that they can hear.
There's so many perspectives that we're not speaking to here, and I kind of want to speak to them just for the sake of covering everything in this conversation. So one is being a Janelle Monáe or a John Morant. First, let's deal with John Morant. John Morant, it goes back to the point what I said about his counterparts. Being young, being rich, being at that level of life in America, right? Has his social club gets hard, right? Because he's just a baller, but the ballers are around the rappers and the rappers are around you feel me? So it's this social acceptability, and that becomes his own conflict. However, what could be universal to them is the spirit of rebellion in youth, right? Like the ability to be able to express, right? Not only rebellion, but the ability to express the rambunctiousness that comes with you. Now, here's the problem, right? For me, and this becomes another perspective, a more mature one that isn't represented, because I understand how those are problematic, is that we don't have a Black weaponry and militia or NRA or like large presence to standardize how you should be handling weapons. So there is nobody to cast down on him and say that that is a bad display from us, for us, through you, right? Given your stature and stuff like that. And I think that becomes the thing, right? Success gets to this point, especially for Black people, where it is just you arriving. It has nothing to do with the entirety of who you are. It is you arriving for what you do. As we said, I fell in love with you for this art or for this talent or this thing. Right. We never get to know or understand where you seek to go or what parts are missing. Even in that space, thus we can guard against these things. Like, all right, we could do this, but we could do this in private. We could take you to the range and, show you how to move and give you some, a lot of these guys aren't getting PR training. That was a thing back in the day. Yeah,
but also too, though, Hassan, I'm not trying to interrupt you, but I am. The part I have a problem with is, better, you do better, as it adheres to Ja. But then for Janelle, there's no judgment on what she's doing. More so, is she doing it because of the era of it, right? Like right now, sexuality is, and it's always been in play for women in music, right? Let's keep it 100. I'm not saying you got an Oscar when you got naked, but until Monsters Ball, when Halle got down, it was, I don't know if you ever just took your time and watched that scene, but it was.
Can you make me feel good? Can you make me feel good? Can you make me feel good?
It was very, you could have got there, if you really wanted to. But the point I'm trying to make is, are we succumbing to having no morals? Are we succumbing to having no culture? Are we succumbing to this much disrespect with our heritage and the people that, think about your mama and daddy. Or if your mama and daddy wasn't great examples, think about a relative. Think about somebody that's 70 years or older that went through segregation, born into segregation. Like, y'all feel we don't have no rights today? Imagine what they didn't have. So imagine getting us to this point. And then all of a sudden, there are no guardrails. To your point, Haas, there are no guardrails. There's nobody with direction. There's nobody with instructions. And then all of a sudden, you start getting some generational wealth. Now listen, ladies and gentlemen, we're not talking about no little money. We're talking about generational wealth. When you look at Ye, he's been the subject of many of our conversations. When you look at now Ja Morant, when you look at anybody that doesn't have to do the dumb shit they doing, these are the red flags for our culture. These are the signs that we are going to burn, crash and burn. It's entertainment to them. Do y'all not realize that? Capital THEY. It is their entertainment. They are watching us, and it's like the monkeys in a glass cage. This episode of The Kenny Burns Show is brought to you by Mickey D's. The realest conversations always happen in the Mickey D's booth. Oh, baby, I want extra pickles. Yeah, that's right, extra pickles. And then give me a chocolate milkshake and add some vanilla and strawberry. All the best nights out in with the bite from Mickey D's. Jessica, I can't feel my face. Please, let's go by McDonald's. A full car ordering in the Mickey D's drive-thru is just the right amount of chaos. Excuse me, I said I wanted the quarter pounder of cheese.
You said filet of fish.
I'm telling you right now what I want. A full car of
what you want
in the Mickey D's drive-thru is just the right amount of chaos.
What you want, Kenny?
I want a Big Mac meal, 10-piece nuggets, and 2 milkshakes.
He wants a big...
And a filet of fish.
Boy, what you want?
Mickey D's is the affordable answer to taking the whole family to dinner. Everyone's got their own Mickey D's moments. Go on and make more delicious memories today. TKBS Nation, with some of the best and most capable vehicles in the world, Ford knows strong means more than just physical. Ford is sharing the inspiring stories of those behind the wheel who are accomplishing their goals, pursuing their dreams, and creating the world they want to live in. Built Ford Proud highlights Dee Bryant, a Ford driver who has shown strength in how she is breaking boundaries to create change in her field for those all around her. Dee Bryant is a professional stunt driver, featured in over 100 films, movies, and shows. She began riding motorcycles at the age of 11. Dee has done stunts in many commercials, but she always finds herself gravitating towards Ford vehicles as her personal ride when off screen. In fact, much of her stunt driving training took place in a Ford Mustang. Dee is one of few females and even fewer African American female stunt drivers in the industry. She constantly battles against sexism, racism, and unfair representation as many productions try to get around hiring female drivers. As a part of her fight for equality, she co-founded the Association of Women Drivers, a stunt driving school where she helps teach other women to stunt drive. She is just one of many examples that show us that Ford drivers span all walks of life, each with an individual story that shows how they are built Ford proud. Learn more about Dee Bryant's story at Ford.com/builtfordproud. Breaking the mold, strengthening communities, creating change. Real stories brought to you by Ford. Built Ford proud.
1 in 8. That's how many people have worked at McDonald's, and where some have continued their career. Where graduates of McDonald's Career Online High School program are now role models leading the next generation. Where aunties, uncles, cousins, and communities learn skills they can use in every aspect of life.
Hi, welcome to McDonald's.
1 in 8 have worked at McDonald's, and where you start stays with you.
TKBS Nation, this podcast is brought to you by the good folks at American Express. With Amex, every day can feel like a vacation. And I swear I mean it when I say it. I went to Miami this weekend because I have two Aries that wanted to celebrate by some water. So we land, go to the Soul House, and guess what we checked in using? Yes, my Amex. That night, the Janet Jackson and Ludacris concert was in Hollywood, California. We drove out, so the car service and the drinks went on what? Yes, my Amex. Ladies and gentlemen, my Aries are spoiled rotten. They wanted a boat the next day. What did I pay for the boat with? My Amex. That evening, I wanted some Chinese food. Yes, I got what I wanted at Mr. Child's, and guess what I used to pay for dinner with? Yes, my American Express. The dream is real. When you're with Amex, you can make every day feel like the best day ever. American Express. Don't live life without it. I just learned Discover credit cards do something pretty awesome. At the end of your first year, they automatically double all the cash back you've earned. That's right. Everything you earn doubled. All the cash back from eating at your favorite soup dumpling restaurant. Doubled. All the cash back from that trip where you sort of learned to snowboard. Also doubled. And the best part, you don't have to do anything ridiculous to get it. Nope. Discover does it automatically. Seriously though, see terms and check it out for yourself at discover.com/match.
On the flip side, there's other people that have the same access and has the same accomplishment that he has, that's exposed to the exact same type of music, the exact same type of TV, the exact same type of media.
LeBron James.
Different decisions. We're all living in the same America, the same world, and we all exposed to the exact same thing. So there's a root to something that's a little bit bigger. You may have two kids, grow up in the same household, same teaching, same mother, same parenting, same everything. One makes this decision, one makes that decision. In fact, that was a story of two brothers that grew up in a house whose father was an alcoholic, drank every day, came home drunk. And there was one brother who would not drink alcohol. And there was another one that drank alcohol and became an alcoholic as well. So they asked both of them, why don't you drink? He said, because my father was an alcoholic. Then they asked the one that was a drinker, why you drink so much? His answer was the exact same thing, because my father was an alcoholic.
Right.
So I think we have to get to the root and because it's not just the media. There has to be some type of mental balance where we understand that this is entertainment. They have to create that foundational truth of who they are at their core, so that the propaganda and what's being perpetuated isn't something that becomes their reality.
Absolutely.
I would even go further to say that there should be an assessment before or of certain people. I hate to bring him up, but we look at Ye, like he's a self-fulfilling prophecy. on all platforms. Like his music literally stated the actions that he assumed. As the, like years prior. The same thing is true for all leaders. We're talking about. But
Ye will also still be celebrated, Haas, for his music. Ye's music is a blueprint to success, to be honest. And in none of his music do I ever hear the bashing of, the Jewish people or any of that. That's a whole nother episode, because that is why I'm even saying music today is all propaganda. It is all a tool to get you to act and do certain things. It is all a tool to destroy a community, a form of music that they never respected, like rock and roll, that has had more influence than rock and roll. This is bigger than ideology. This is bigger than like what you think it is.
I feel like it's bigger than music. I feel like it's bigger than music too, though. I feel like they're propagating our culture in a way that dictates behavior. You feel what I'm saying?
You're absolutely right. But it's music that connects all the dots, period. There's no greater form of inspiration or directive than our music we listen to. In the history of our music, if you go back to What's Going On with Marvin Gaye, what's going on? That was a phenomenal picture verbally of what was going on in society. Today, if you listen to the song that Ja was mentioning with Young Boy NBA, there's nothing about culture in that song. There's only what he's going to do to somebody and how he's going to do it and how guns play a part in it. So my point is, if we're going from What's Going On to NBA Young Boy, which is the majority. Now, mind you, there is music today that lives, but the majority, in the point you made, Latia, about the kids, both had an alcoholic father, one chose and didn't. They both used him as the reason why, right? LeBron James, and I'm going to use LeBron as the ultimate version of this, right? LeBron James, you remember that little time when he was in his car and he was always listening to music, and the music started getting a little NBA Young Boyish. Guess what happened? He stopped it. You want to know why? First and foremost, I think he did it because of his children. But then secondly, I think he did it because of his brand. We as black people got to understand something. If we are having any motion in business, whatever genre of business you're in, you have to be responsible for the way you show up at all times, not just sometimes. Now, mind you, this is a place where we cuss and we say all types of things, but we get to a point. Everything about the Kenny Burns Show is a perspective, and we want you to take the information and figure it out for yourself or add and apply where you see necessary. But we can't let things slide on the Kenny Burns Show because we want a better community. We want to really evoke culture and what our heritage and legacy aligns with when we're talking about culture, not what these kids are calling culture. And with all due respect, the Migos are one of the greatest groups ever in rap. I say that because of cadence and ability, right? Not because of actual messaging or because they are saying something that's moving the culture, even though they name their names. They're looking at it as like we're the culture because we're the new hip rap thing. No, culture is what Offset is doing, not what anybody else. And no diss to anyone else, but Offset getting married, having children, standing by his woman, that's culture. That's culture. So we're not bastardizing anybody. We're not saying, but we got to break down what it really is. And the reason, again, while I'm saying music is the key form of propaganda in our communities, because that's what we react to. When I'm in the club right today, and I was on stage with Jeezy Saturday, I'm word for word and I'm feeling like a dope boy. Okay? But I could get off stage and leave that moment. I could also get off stage, have a conversation with Jeezy, and mind you, because I was a dope boy, not because I wanted to be one. But my point to you is, I get off stage, we talking about business, we talking about families. The show can be the show. I don't want to discourage anybody in rap. I don't want to discourage anybody from telling their truth. When your truth doesn't align with your art, then to me, you're not for the culture. You're not for the advancement of your particular genre of music or your particular genre of business. And that's just how I feel, because now at 50, I'm like, all right, I've been through all of it. Everything you could imagine. There's nothing, not a scenario on earth I have not been through. So if you're going to look at me for answers, I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm not here to sugarcoat what you think you need to go through. I don't want you to go through that shit. That shit adds mileage to your life. It adds invaluable lessons where you should act on them, not like take them as, this guy I was looking at the day that did a bank robbery. He said the people who actually committed the bank robbery told on him, and he didn't tell. He got the 17 years, right? But he said because of who he was, he felt like he just didn't want that energy or how he would be judged in the community. I'm like, sir, if you were the getaway driver and yet you stood tall on your part in it, and then you got the mixtape of the 3 other people involved saying that you were inside the bank and you did X, Y, and Z, and then mind you, he said that the police told him, we know we got camera, you sitting in the car. You can go home today. Now mind you, stand on it because you did it. But then when you find out the mixtape came, you're not supposed to adjust? I'm just curious. And this is where we as a culture sometimes get it twisted too, because what? You being tough, Ja Morant, for who? Janelle Monáe, you're being overly sexual to get what? As if your appetite isn't already being delivered because you look like you do this, right? I know plenty of people with sexual appetites in the music business that don't let they shit out. You know what I'm saying? Got NDAs, all types of protect. Do you? I'm not saying don't do you, but why does the world have to be wrapped around all of this bullshit?
The same reason why a certain group feels that it's necessary to have laws passed to make like we care about what happens in anyone's bedroom. That ain't nobody's business. But
Facts.
Whatever reason people have, Kenny, this just, I don't know, this making my wig itch because I'm just like, I don't understand. It's the truth because I get what you're saying, and the only thing that I can think of, and I'm not using this as it's just like internally, right?
Yep.
Your core. Like your foundation, the God in you. You know what I'm saying? Like when you have a disconnect from that, everything else is you're looking to feel something that's as a filter to feel something else. FEEL, so you can FIL. You know what I'm saying?
I understand. Ooh, hold on.
Bars.
Child, swear sometime I just want to hug you.
I said the world in this generation are doing things to feel something, but they're really trying to feel something.
So
the
FEEL,
feeling of vacancy,
right? And
right.
then FILL,
right? They're 2 words that are saying the same way, but 2 different actions. They feel something from the click, the likes, the attention. And we all have to get to a place where it's like, you know what? Who am I? What's the why? What's the why? When you understand your why, then what you do will start changing. But when you don't know your why, you'll do whatever it is to get that FEEL, that feeling.
Listen, you hit a home run, and I want to expound because the feeling, the FEELING, is the God in you. Now, I'm not talking about the feeling, the emotional feeling when you feel like you got to act because something is propelling you to act. I'm talking about the feeling that holds you back from acting, the shit that you fight to go and do. And then you fuck around and like, damn it, I should have listened to what I said. I should have listened to that feel. I knew I shouldn't have went out with that motherfucker. Whatever that is, that's the feeling, ladies and gentlemen. It's not the dopamine, as the Tia mentioned, from looking at something that looks amazing on social media or that looks enticing, you know what I'm saying, in some type of ad. Yes, these people market to you through these things that they think are going to attract you, right? The
marketers know that. They know that.
They have every study
behind marketing, the music, the sound, the colors,
Absolutely.
the pitch, the twitch. All of that breaks down to marketing and branding. And once you're able to mentally decipher, because you're already filled, FILLED, you're filled with something, everything else becomes entertainment. Like Kenny, you said, I was on the side of the stage, I'm rapping lyrics, but I got up, turn it off. We talking about business. It's a moment. We can't make a moment in the memory of that, and then you get back to yourself, because yourself is all you have. That's it.
Yes,
That's it. Like when you got that connection in that core, that God deity that's in you, all the other stuff. You don't need to wave guns on social media because I need y'all to feel like I this. I don't care about how you feel about me to the point that I have to do something to show you, because I'm wanting to earn your perspective. I want to earn your validation. I don't care that much about your opinion of me to let it change the way that I move in my life. So because what am I doing? I'm waving this and I'm showing this. Yeah. Oh, wow, you got this. And it makes me feel good because you said, oh, he's a gangster. Oh, she's a baddie or this. Yeah, I feel good. Now what?
Exactly. Because guess what? A lot of that is a facade too. And that's why
it's propaganda.
Yeah, it's propaganda.
Pushing a narrative, trying to make people think something. Social media is all propaganda.
It is.
I got to go because now I'm
no, take the wig off. We love you. So, Shelly, I would love to know your perspective on this. What is propaganda according to Edward Bernays? Edward Bernays explained the consciousness of intelligent manipulation of the organized habits and opinions of the masses is an important element in democratic society. Those who manipulate this unseen mechanism of society constitute an invisible government, which is the true ruling power of our country. So, ladies and gentlemen, Edward Bernays, if you don't know him, you should Google him. But how do you feel about that statement, Shelly B?
It sounds very much crafted from a lot of opinions. We know that there are common tools used in propaganda. Emotional appeals, visual symbols, what we've just talked about. We keep giving these overly educated definitions of propaganda.
Right.
And in this society, it is bad messaging because it's going to keep you looped in. You could say in the turn of government, it's going to keep you looped in. It's a constant mind shift of what you should be thinking or what you should be feeling.
F-E-E-L-I-N-G.
That one. What your personal attributes can contribute to. We were all raised a certain way. We were all raised on understanding fact from fiction.
Yes.
But did you completely understand and take that within yourself to understand that what I'm seeing out here, I know is not real?
Man.
It's the moment of. So when we can talk about you being on stage with Jeezy, you know the way that we sound when that beat drops for Meek. We've been there. The microphone has been passed because you're going to say that bar, you're going to say that bar. But again, when I get off that stage, it's respectfully, it's been a pleasure meeting with you. I'd love to hear everything that you've got going on and move forward.
Yes.
From all of that.
Yes, no, and Haas, I'm coming right to you. But to your point, absolutely. But that's the beauty of growth. And that's why I don't shun, people for telling their truth. I'm just saying at a certain point, you have to evolve. If it's not through your music, it's through your actions and your business acumen and the things you're leaving behind. And it usually happens when you become a parent. When you start to realize that life's not about you and that you need to continuously, pour into someone that has a better opportunity than you did, right? Because in Jeezy's personal household, his kids don't have to go through what he went through. My household, so forth and so on. So I think that we have a responsibility, but I love how we can do that and then get back to what's most important.
Or when those legal fees get to biting in your butt and you realize, I done paid $100 million a year for all of this. I need to go sit down and shut up.
Yeah, like a motherfucker. Haas.
At the opening, I feel like Shelly hit the nail on the head. She said it was crafted. And I think that when you
can tell them more about Edward Bernays if you want, because you know exactly.
Edward Bernays is the father of propaganda, or known as the father of public relations, was the title they gave him.
PR, ladies and gentlemen.
But he wrote books called Crystallizing Public Opinion and another one called Propaganda, which again was glorified by multiple governments and thus utilized on people. However, I think the key to it is to look at who he studied. He studied Sigmund Freud. And Freud, as you know, fathered psychology.
Yeah.
And he, in dealing with not only psychology, he studied psychoanalysis, and with psychoanalysis specifically, crowd psychology or herd thinking. And I want to say that and highlight that because it's very key that we know that 85% or 90% of the world right now are blindly following propaganda, are blindly
100%.
following, governments and plans that have been literally based around like, okay, a majority of you have these vices, a majority of you aren't filled in seeking a feeling, and so if I can provide you the symbolism and create, and this is the hard fact that everybody needs to take away from this. It's about conception. What I can get you to think about, what I can get you to conceptualize.
Yeah.
So we need to stop conceptualizing what someone else is conceptualizing about us and conceptualize what we are about for ourselves and others.
You mother sucker. No, important, and thank you. I want to give two things. The feeling, Latia said it and brought it to the table, and I just want to double down on the feeling because, ladies and gentlemen, when you're not with something. When you're not supposed to do something. You feel it in your spirit. That is God talking to you. That is the place in which you should identify with and which you should honestly honor. Because how many times have we all been outside when we were not supposed to be outside and we had that feeling and we made the choice to go against that inner feeling that told us not to do, and we burnt our hand. We did whatever was supposed to happen to us in that moment. Yes, life lessons, but ladies and gentlemen, we don't have to go through certain lessons if we just listen to ourselves, right? Our inner selves. So I want to put that out there because I really love that you brought that to the table, Latia. And then the other thing is, y'all, at the end of the day, who do you really want to be? If you think about who you want to really be in these moments of unclear decisions, you wouldn't make half the choices you make. It's not even necessary to be clear going into it. Just in that moment when it's time to bust that move, when it's time to do some stupid shit, there's something that happens. And you have a choice. You can never say, I just let the music consume me to the point. No, motherfucker, you had to pick up the gun. You had to pull it out your side. You had to do. It's not that black and white. We all make the choices. Now, if you want to hype yourself up that you this bad motherfucker and you ain't nobody going, and I'm going to be this, and God damn it, if you tell yourself that enough, you might just believe the shit until it's time to be that bad motherfucker. And like Ja Morant, lose 100 million. Okay? Or like somebody else in the street that wasn't so fortunate, that got into a gun shootout and died and killed the motherfucker doing life in prison. So you want to be them people? Or do you want to have some sense of self-understanding and worth? This is not to be played with. This is and the reason I named this show Propaganda is because we create our own as much as they create it for us. We create these narratives that we continuously have to fight through when we done set the precedence for ourselves. It ain't even they. It ain't even the capital THEY. It's us. And yet you wonder why you ain't got no man or no woman. Or you wonder why you confused sexually. Or you wonder why you can't get off the drugs you on because of the choices you made. Or you wondering all these things, but yet you put these guardrails in front of yourself. And not the right guardrails, to say the least.
You might as well just bust a gun.
Yeah, I didn't want to do that this episode just because I felt like, fuck it. I just think that at the end of the day, it's just, we got to do better, y'all. We have to do better. We are the cause of most of our problems. We can't say it's money anymore. I saw Sierra one time for Sierra. Ladies and gentlemen, I've known her for 2 decades. And I saw her the other day. And the woman she is and the things she's, getting herself into on the business side. She has a fund. But, that's what we supposed to do, y'all. We got access to a lot of money. Some of us have it, but we have access to it. Wealth, if you have any conversation with anybody or listen to anybody's, conversation about wealth and wealth building, it takes money. It takes money or access to money. We keep throwing away the fucking money, yay. We throwing away the money, Ja. This is all things that's supposed to help our community. Ja could have did a whole lot going to do stuff for underserved people in Memphis. I go to Memphis all the time. They need you, bro. All that riding around and doing all that dumb shit. The new Flex is doing some shit that's really helping the community in which you play basketball in, that you work in, that pays your motherfucking bills, okay? Like, what's the new flexes, y'all? We have to have an answer. And the answer to this propaganda conversation is we have to put new steps in place. We have to have some order. Ain't no fucking order. This Wild Wild West shit ain't working. Record label executives, you are on the hot seat. All of my mentees, I don't want to hear no more of that music. If it's not an A to Z plan or how he getting out the street or how she getting out the street, and she wants a better life, I'm not with it. Ladies and gentlemen, you have the realest blueprint ever. Music business executives in particular. Jay-Z. He's never denounced nothing. He's claimed it all. He's embraced it all. But he has done right by the culture. Stayed with his woman. Had kids. Grew a multi-billion-dollar business. Yes, on the foundation of the streets, and we accept it. Because now he is the example on how to take it to the mountaintop. Record label executives, you have a blueprint. You see the value in mentorship. If you have never watched The Black Godfather, watch The Black Godfather. You have blueprints on how to do this shit. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, the majority of the people are with the shits, okay? But it ain't your motherfucking business to be had. They don't tell you all their little secrets and all the things they go. No, they just show you and have shown you how to get it. Conversations like this remind you why you gotta lean on something and someone. You cannot do it alone. And you have to have other opinions outside of your own fucking opinion, okay? All you starstruck motherfuckers that think you doing more than you, your time is like this. You are a blip in the motherfucking solar system, okay? I don't care how much money, fame you get, you are a blip. There's a young tender coming for your spot, all right? When people say it's a young person's game, just like sports, it is a young person's game. You can stay around. Yeah, you could be around. You can hover. You can make money. You could be great. But you are here for a blip. That massive energy you getting, you here for a blip. That massive attention, that massive exploration and finding yourself, it only lasts for a little bit. So I want to send you guys so much love and respect for your opinions today. And I want to go around the table one last time just to give encouragement to the people that are constantly being poured into the wrong way through music and other entities. How do you feel, Shelly B? I want to start with you.
I'm just glad that my parents taught me fact from fiction. And I try to do my best with, the nieces and nephews to make sure that, culturally they understand who we are, who they are, and what's right, what's wrong.
Right.
With the examples that are on. And so I'm glad that their parents, who, were raised around, all of us were raised together.
Right.
That we get it. Yeah. That we get it. Now, not all of them, but the majority.
Yeah. Most have common sense. Yeah. Right and wrong. I love that. Most of them have common sense. Yeah. Right and wrong. I love that, Shelly B. Haas.
If you're not real to you, anything can be made real to you. So.
Ooh. Round of applause for Haas. Latia.
I was just thinking and taking all this in and just inspired so many ideas. And, I never wanted to be one that complained about the problem without having a solution.
Yeah.
And I think I'm inspired to, whatever, one can contribute to the cultural water to help the next generation. We have to just do our part.
Right.
Because the same water that sustains you will drown you too if you don't learn how to swim in it. So I don't want to be one that's drowned by the nonsense and just complain about it. It's like, okay, cool. What do you have in your hand that you can contribute? What are your relationships? What are the people under you? What can you do? What's the voice that you can offer in a way that people can receive it? Because it's 8 billion people in the world. Right. There's somebody out here that can hear a message from Kenny or hear something somewhere, whether it's in whatever way you convey that message, that may get a download that can impact and change something. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So I think it's more so getting the tools out the tool chest and get to work to contribute more, because one person can't do it by themselves. We all have somebody that can connect in some way, that will hear something, that can help change the direction that things are going.
Yeah.
Because I hate to say that it gets worse before it gets better, and I never wanted to believe that, but it looks like that's what it is.
Yeah.
Because we're having the same conversations just with different topics, and it's just like, now this has happened, now that has happened. It's like, good grief, the devil is a lie. Like, what in the world?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? It's crazy.
Yeah. No, listen, we were enslaved, and now we're enslaving ourselves. It is a repetitive thing that is constant, and to your point about getting worse, it's becoming more abundant, and when you think about it, it's crazy that we are so caught up with money and things that we can't even live a happy, satisfied life. It's always the next and what we have to do to get this and why we got to get this and what we got to do. So I just, I appreciate all of your perspectives with our discussion today with propaganda. And I actually just got a thought for the next episode. But thank you, Latia. I appreciate that. You've been a motherfucker today. Okay, we want to give you another round of applause. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, I think that, this will have us obviously having conversations with our loved ones this week about how we have to put some measures of control in place. Because we're out of control. And we were once being poured into by capital THEY and what their agenda was, but they have tricked us into doing it to ourselves. And that's where we are right now in a lot of different ways. And so unless we start having some real serious self-reflection and putting some systems in place so that we can continue to grow our generational wealth, so that we can kind of, get back to these HBCUs and pouring this money into these institutions that were designed for our communities to win and flourish with knowledge, like my brother Hasadidi. We have to, and Shelly, I know I'm saying that you and Ash, the T aren't, but he's an encyclopedia, so both credit. Anyway, all right, ladies and gentlemen, we're out of here. Propaganda was an amazing conversation. We have to do more. Please evangelize this conversation. We're going to have the recap tonight at 7:30 with Michelangelo and Tiffany. So please get in, join. If you aren't able to join tonight, get into the comments. Let's keep the energy going. And yeah, we want the energy to be uplifting, man. This shit gets confusing. You want to move to the woods butt naked. I feel you, but you can't. You got to deal with it. And you got to be a pillar in your community, whichever way you could be. So on the count of 3, we're going to say the credo together, and we're going to try to do it in unison. 1, 2, 3. The dream is real.
Is real.
Latia didn't even try. Okay, take that. That's our second gunshot of the goddamn episode, and you get it. Love y'all. Peace. The dream is real.